please welcome presenter BBC Newsday in Uganda, Alan Kasuja.
I think you might want to move closer here.
Want me to switch?
Okay. I'm the one that made a mistake. Good afternoon. How's everybody? Good? My name is Alan Kasuja. Thank you very much for joining us for this session. I'd like to introduce you to my panelists, starting with Mr. Mustafa Bakri. Mr. Mustafa Bakri is the CEO of Masen, and he'll be telling us a bit more about his project. And on the other side, I'd like to introduce you to Carlos St. James. And Carlos has spent many years in South America and has only recently relocated to Texas. He is from the Middle East, America's Energy Council. Now, we're talking about renewable energy more than anything else. We're talking about accessibility to this energy, to this technology, and to sustainable technology, generally speaking, and what's available in Africa and how that can be harnessed to ensure that it's available to as much of the continent as possible. Starting with you, Mr. Mustafa Bakri, just talk to me about what you're doing at the moment, because you are in the process of overseeing the development of one of the biggest photovoltaic projects in the world.
Bonsoir et merci. Merci de me donner l'occasion de parler de ce que fait le Maroc dans le domaine des énergies renouvelables et en particulier dans l'énergie solaire, où le Maroc a décidé depuis 2009.
Morocco has decided to commit to managing its own energy by giving more to renewable energy for two reasons. Because energy is the road for development. To continue ensuring a social and economic development, you need energy, sustainable. You need to make sure that energy is available to everybody. It should be also available at prices that are within reach for both households and businesses or industries. This choice is also dictated by a will to assume our responsibility vis-à-vis the environment and the climate change. And that's the reason why we started this strategy. This is a strategy that is borne by Moroccan society at large. There is a consensus. Now we are beyond the vision, the strategy. The project now is in a phase where we are seeking the most updated technologies. So there is already a project in Ouarzazate, 250 kilometers south of Marrakesh. We are deploying the first project, which is going to be the biggest project in the world. It's not photovoltaic, although we will develop photovoltaic projects based. This is a project that will meet concrete needs in terms of electricity consumption, 160 megawatts. To give you an idea about the project, it's part of a big 2017-2018 500 megawatts. 500 megawatts is the 1 year consumption for Marrakesh and the satellite cities around it. And beyond this project, there are other projects in the pipeline that will represent 14% of our electricity consumption by 2020. This is the Moroccan ambition. This is the objective. And through these projects, we have the ambition to allow for a national industrial tissue and a dynamism of R&D, because we believe that renewable energy will evolve, and we are confident that Moroccan entrepreneurs to participate so that this ecosystem around solar energy could create innovative opportunities, development opportunities with multi-facets. I was talking about solar energy as a means to meet electricity needs. Through that project, it is going to be injected in the grid, and we will have lights in the cities. We will use it to turn on computers for the domestic household uses. And this is electricity that what is going to replace fuel or coal energy. Now we can use it for city lights, for boiling water, for pumping water in the agriculture. All this is now becoming a reality, and these are uses that will evolve in time, and we are heeding and keen on any updates, any novelty that this sector may take advantage of, because we are developing new ecosystem in Morocco based on solar energy.
Two different variants. There's solar photovoltaic and solar concentration. What's truly creative about what's happening in Morocco is that they're focusing on solar concentration, which is different. It actually has a storage component. So
what is the difference?
Well, one of the big unknowns of the industry is that you cannot store energy on a large scale. You can have small batteries, but you cannot store energy on a large scale. This solar concentration they're looking to do is beginning to break into the renewable energy that also has storage. The day you can actually have good, affordable storage of energy, like giant batteries to speak of, on a large scale, it's going to revolutionize the energy industry on a worldwide. And Morocco, in that sense, is on the cutting edge of that. They're experimenting with technologies that have the potential to really be something transformative.
That's very interesting, because people have said that countries like Morocco that are only just developing countries do not necessarily need to come up with their own or with new technology, in the sense that Africa and the rest of the developing world is largely seen as latecomers to technology, and as a result, they need to be leapfrogging and adopting rather than creating their own solutions.
Right.
As someone who has worked in South America and very familiar with what's going on in the US as well, what do you say to that?
That's true. Our group has been working on and developing the renewable energy industry in Latin America for the last decade. And what we saw recently is that the same issues that emerging markets in Latin America have are the same as they have in North Africa, in countries like Morocco. And so we're keen to begin investing in Morocco, because in all of Morocco, certainly the natural resource that they have in this country, solar energy specifically, there's a lot of wind energy potential, but solar energy throughout all of Morocco, including in Moroccan Sahara, there's a wonderful resource that needs to be taken advantage of here. And what the Moroccan government is doing is actually making use of their tremendous resource, which is sunshine, using capital from overseas, putting the different stakeholders together and using that. The fact that they're coming in a little bit later works to the advantage of Morocco, because the cost of this technology is far lower now than it would have been 5-10 years ago.
Interesting point, because I'd like to come back to you, Mustafa. How do you then make sure that it's affordable to the consumer, to the end user? Because that in itself is something that has to be thought about, isn't it?
From a technical standpoint, these projects generate electricity that goes into the grid, and it is available to the consumers. From an economic and financial standpoint, we have taken the necessary caution to make sure these projects don't give any overcost, or so that the consumer always finds it affordable, and so that we could reach a competitive price. So we have an institutional scheme that allows the electricity network to buy from the producers of electricity, and we happen to be the hyphen between the two, to buy it where they are not losing, so that they can sell it without losing a penny. It's very important that solar energy should not be looked at as such loss or increase in prices or tariffs, and work at the same time so that the final price soit good. And I can tell you that Morocco has taken giant steps in this pathway. In Ouarzazate, we have reached a new price level at world level. Today, we are preparing the second and the third project in a few weeks. And here again, it's going to be an improvement on the number one project. So we are reducing prices, which says that solar energy, all technologies, is reaching the price that we are seeking, even if we are using coal as a source.
Yeah, and I speak this as an African now, with a keen interest in making sure that other African countries develop and benefit from your experience. How easy will it be for those African countries to adopt what you're doing here, to learn from your experience? What do they need to do in order to make sure that they benefit from what you've seen? Yeah, as soon as it's done.
Okay.
Alors, évidemment,
it's not an easy task. I want to say it upfront. You have to be aware of the complexity of these projects. Once you are aware of it, and it is supported by a strong will, the secret consists in understanding what projects need to serve, generate electricity that is going to be useful, and the usefulness of this electricity is going to have its added value. For any country, we need to understand what is the need, what the need is. What are we using this electricity for? Why are you selling it? This is what is going to dictate the technologies, the financial modalities. This is the strategy that we are adopting, with a will to simplify things so that everybody could have access to it. We are not talking about one project. We are thinking about establishing mechanisms that we are going to optimize solar energy at a large scale.
I could not have said it better. The issue, and we've seen this in Latin America, and the same applies to any country in Africa, you have to come up with the right framework, the right incentives initially, so that you have the investors and the bankers and all of the various stakeholders come together and pursue this. And it is not an easy task. It's certainly because you have many diverse interests. You are shaking the tree because someone is already making money with the existing energy scheme in any given country. And you're coming in with a new source of energy, renewable, wind, solar, biomass, whatever it might happen to be, and it is not easy. You have to actually push it through, and in many instances find ways that it's done effectively, that it creates jobs, that it makes sense, that it doesn't cost consumers or taxpayers anything. It's a challenge, but it's actually happening now because the cost of these technologies are now competitive.
But beyond the cost of that technology, investors seem to be a little bit averse to the challenges in various countries. You know, I haven't seen many. It should be, because Africa is full of sunshine. It should be easy for African countries to say, you know what, we're going solar. Why aren't they doing it? What is it that they need to overcome in order to do it?
Right. Well, the answer is that each country has a different, or investors perceive the risk of investing in a different country very differently. Everyone loves to jump into South Africa, for example, nowadays, and shies away from other countries that are not perceived to be quite, because in certain countries, let's say like South Africa, the rule of law is trusted. An investor, and I represent the investor side typically, they want to know that if they invest 10 years into a project, a solar project, a wind project, that the rules of engagement are not going to change. During those 10 years, there will be consistency in the policy making. And that's something that I've seen in Latin America, for example, is not the case. Countries come in, they make big promises, and then once the investment happens, they change the rules. And that's something that scares investors away terribly. So you need to have a government that is consistent with their policies.
What do you have to say to that?
Je crois effectivement qu'il est très important d'aménager des cadres institutionnels, juridiques et clairs, et de préférence qui soient assez proches de ce qui se passe au niveau international. Deuxièmement, il faut avoir des institutions. Il faut qu'il y ait des réseaux électriques. Il faut qu'il y ait des institutions nationales fortes pour gérer ces réseaux électriques. C'est des préalables pour que ensuite des investisseurs puissent s'engager, des bailleurs de fonds puissent prêter, et puis qu'il y ait aussi des acheteurs de cette électricité sur une durée suffisamment longue pour donner de la visibilité aux entrepreneurs. Donc c'est un ensemble d'aménagements qui doit être mis en place, et par la suite, on est ramené.
So this is again an issue of project development, which is not necessarily only related to energy. It's common to all infrastructure sectors.
Thank you very much to Mr. Mustafa Bakuri, who is the CEO of Mersen.
Thanks, guys.
And I'd also like to say thank you very much to Carlos and James, who is from the Middle East, America's Energy Council.
Thank you.
Thank you.